Hello, my name is Steve Morris. I run a website called The End is Far. I haven't really done much with it, um, but I'm looking to change that. So I'm actually interested in talking today about an idea that I'm having for what I'm calling the Apprenticeship Guild. Um, let's take a look at it. I know there's a lot of information here, but this is my idea about the Apprenticeship Guild, and you can see right here, I'm saying a little note to myself: if I had $1 million, I would create this apprenticeship guild. And what is this apprenticeship guild? Um, you know, what it is in a nutshell, it's a temp agency that is crossed with a self mastery program. So it's a guild that helps community members achieve self mastery through local business participation. So essentially, it's on the job training. For the apprentice, it's a series of jobs and courses that prepare you for your future. So it's kind of like college, but you get paid to go to college. You're getting work experience, and you're taking extracurricular or extra jobular uh, courses that make you a well-rounded person and and able to take care of yourself. For the business owner, or owners, it's a collection of motivated talent for you to rely on to meet your employment needs. So, one of the nice things about working with us in order to get or in order to find your talent is that part of being in our program means that our apprentices, they work for us really, but you're their client, but we're paying them, and you're paying us in order to pay them and give them an education. Um, the nice thing about that is that if the apprentice doesn't show up for work, or they just turn out to not be a great uh, apprentice, a great employee for you, then we find them something else, or we let go of them and get you somebody else who's motivated. So part of getting different assignments. So here you can say it's a series of jobs and courses. So pretty much our uh, contracts with the small business owner will be you know around a year. And so what we do is we pair people for you. So let's take a look at the employer here for a moment. So we have your contact information. I just put down, this is brainstorming really. And we supply you with apprentices and novices, and we will help you grow your apprentices who are interested in your field, in your domain of business. We'll help them become experts in that. And so essentially, an expert is a journeyman. That's someone who can go off on their own and make it on their own. Um, so we'll help you with that. Um, but mainly, it's to supply you with talent that typically rolls over. Like people outgrow lower level jobs, but those jobs are necessary in order to achieve your organization's mission. So, um, essentially, what we are is we're a talent acquisition, training, and uh, retainment business for you and for the rest of our community. Um, we want to talk to you about your turnover issues. Why do you have turnover? And we can help alleviate that. If you have somebody out sick, or if someone goes on pregnancy leave or something like that, we can supply you with a temporary worker, substitute, like a substitute teacher, but somebody who can fill in and get the job done or help get the job done while, you know, your primary person is, if we have to find a new one or, prepare for them to come back. Um, we're going to have an employer sign up system. So we'll have a readiness assessment and we'll get into implementing the Apprenticeship Guild into your company and you into the Apprenticeship Guild. I'll get into that a little bit later. That's kind of, so I guess that readiness assessment goes into consulting services where we start really talking about needs analysis and skills and all that. So getting into the details. So that's the small business. So for the apprentice, who you'll be relying on, we have a sign up system for that. So there's a form. They have contact info. We have an assessment. So we have an initial assessment, interest, current skill set, references. And then over your time at the Apprenticeship Guild, we're going to track your progress from novice to expert. So, mastery is something that we can't teach you, but we can help prepare you for mastery, because mastery is essentially doing something for 5 years straight. So it's 10,000 hours of doing something and becoming really, really, really good at it. So we'll help you get there, but we're only going to really track you from novice to expert. So whenever you're an expert, that means that you should be able to go out and get a job in your area just about anywhere. Barring language differences and whatnot, but you're a bona fide, self-reliant person. So part of being an apprentice is where the guild's going to give you offerings. So that's courses and that's jobs. And we'll break things out into categories. I don't know why I have APIs here, but that'll probably come back to me. We'll help you build a roadmap. We'll have guild references. So people who are members of the guild who we contract you out to. So here's the thing. Being an apprentice is kind of a high pressure thing, not necessarily super high pressure, but you're going to have to be a good employee in order to get better positions moving up. So like in order to get these better positions out there, you can't really screw up with your clients, and we'll help you do that. We're not going to just toss you out to these small businesses and not, think of your concerns as well, because you're really our main focus. I mean, our small businesses they're really collaborators with us in helping you become self-mastered and a benefit to yourself and the community. Of course, you're going to have your contact information. Again, these are just notes. And then you're going to have new interests that are coming along. So we'll help you keep track of those. Courses, again, I kind of threw this together. But overall, an apprentice is someone looking to become a mastery of their lives through working with and for small businesses and the guild. So levels of mastery. That starts out at novice. Novice is pretty much a super low paid person or not paid at all. And you pretty much go into a business and it's part-time. You spend time during the day and you'll go get things for people. There's light work, and being able to watch somebody do something. And pretty much a novice it's a test to see if you can or want to apprentice at that location. So pretty much that's where you start. So, this could be a 1 to 2 week trial period. But, novices, you don't, I don't know, you don't want to stay in that position for too long. If you do, that's not good for any of us. Then we have an apprenticeship, and that's non-management, and we do yearly contracts. So apprenticeship is you start learning the skills and skill sets in order to perform uh, particular processes or series of processes. And then after that, after a few years of doing that, you should become an expert in a particular area. And this includes experts and then management of apprentices and novices. Um, and you can manage these people on your own. And then master, we'll get more into that, but that's kind of like a small business owner who has a lot of clients or has employees, experts and apprentices working for them. We are colorblind. So this is non-negotiable. Humans come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, and colors, and we mostly ignore that within the guild. Like unless it's super, super pressing, like, I got to take into consideration your skin color or, your shape or your size or your eye color or hair color or anything like that. If that happens to be extremely important, then I'll pay attention to it. But other than that, I'm looking at your personality. I'm looking at how you treat me, how you treat our clients, how our clients treat us. That's part of the thing too. Is like, listen, small business owners out there, you're not allowed to look at our. The way I'd like to see this happen is that we're all members. So you can be a member as a client, or you can be a member as an apprentice. But we're all brothers and sisters within this organization, and we're not going to judge each other by immutable characteristics. Um, it's not going to happen. All guild members, whether you're a client or an apprentice, are humans, and we will treat other members, clients, and people in general like humans. So again, unless it's really important that you judge someone for, one of these immutable characteristics, or like religion or sexual preference or whatever, listen, don't put it in play. We're not going to. So moving on, uh, we're regional, so we're likely at the county or borough level. You don't want to service, a million people. We need to service much smaller things. So like, I would say each guild should, I don't know, I don't know how many members, but probably not more than 50,000. Or heck, I don't know. I mean, we'll figure that out, but it's fractal. So each guild is its own entity, and it has a lot of self similarity with the other guilds and connections to them. So we like to share information with each other. If somebody moves from Georgia to California and they're a guild member, well, then they've got somewhere to go and they understand the system. Um, we are or we can be a lobby. So a 501c4, which is we can go talk to politicians and say, hey, look, you're doing, or these things are in place right now, and it's hurting our business or our industry or our community, and we think we have some ideas on how to change it, and we'd like to talk to you about it. So we can have a political arm. An initial roadmap. To get to this, I was talking to somebody in the Truth, Freedom, and Health movement from Dr. Shiva, and they were asking, do you have a roadmap? So here's one that I came up with this morning. We have a needs analysis, so we need to start talking about what we need in order to get started. So we need money, that's for sure. And that could be scholarships for apprentices. We need donations, and we can earn money in order to continue our guild, keep it going. Um, we need clients, which are small businesses and probably medium-sized businesses in our local community. We need apprentices, and apprentices, as we talked about, that's talent that we are helping grow into experts for our clients and for our community in general. We needed board of directors, and that's the team that drives the mission. And I don't know, I'm kind of thinking about C-level organizational structure. So we need a chief executive officer. We need somebody to take care of finance and treasury. Um, Somebody to talk about or keep up with technology. Um, I don't know. It's kind of a SWAT team, so that's actually a good segue into this. A SWAT team is 3 to 5 people who can manage one of our affiliates or consortium, where it's a consortium member. So it's that SWOT stands for strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. So basically, it's 3 to 5 people who have different strengths, different weaknesses, and the combination of those 3 to 5 people looking at a problem, they can determine what opportunities there are right there in front of them, and they can also look at threats to their mission, which is to get a small business up and running with our, to utilize our guild system, and also help onboard uh, apprentice members. Um, so these are consulting teams, and these teams can carry out readiness assessments and get the client, and I should say, and apprentice up and running on their own. So, pretty much, we'll hold your hand as an apprentice if we have to, and we'll work with you as a small business owner in order to basically make this thing work on its own. If we need to interject and take care of something, then we can take care of that, on an individual basis. But pretty much, we want you to be able to do this without too much interference from outsiders. We need pilots. So pilot being a test run of our prototype. So we come up with a prototype, and we basically turn it on and try to get it up and going into a productive system. So we need our first working prototype, and is that Cherokee County, Georgia? I sure hope so. But here's the thing: is if I can collaborate with you and get your SWAT team uh, up and going, then it could be your county, USA, that gets the first working prototype, and then once we get the first working prototype working really well, or actually pretty well, then we can start talking about 3 to 5 more pilots or test implementations to work out the bugs. So this first working prototype, we need to take a lot of notes and metrics in order to figure out what's working and what doesn't. And then we can share that information with these 3 to 5 pilots, and then they'll test our improvements. And then they'll take a lot of records or metrics, and they'll improve the process for the next, 10 to 15 uh, pilots. Or 10 to 25. Typo, but that'd probably work out pretty good. And then we need third-party resources. So this is part of like the education plan. So our apprentices are not just going to get on the job training. Um, there's going to be some courses that they're going to have to take in order to complete our program or stay a part of our program. So, um, one of the things I was thinking about is, if I had an opportunity to talk to Dr. Jordan Peterson about using his already made curriculum for our purposes, I would talk to him about, the use of his personality course, and, could I get a discount on, say I had 15,000 or 150,000 apprentices, um, who would take his personality assessment. Um, could I get a discount there? And actually, maybe he would even be interested or helping create uh, courseware that drove needs that we figured out that we had. Um, and then, just the use of his 12 rules for life, and other self improvement works, and uh, his understanding of the universe in general, really. Um, then that led me to Dr. Shiva. I've been following him for a while. He's got a really cool thing going called the Truth, Freedom, and Health Movement. He teaches system fundamentals, a lot on politics and uh, revolutions, changing the current path of things. And then one of my favorite topics that he covers, which I think he does an excellent job with, is preventative medicine and general health. So, how do you how do you how do you support mind, body, and soul? Um, and a lot of his Eastern education and Western education pulled together it's pretty remarkable. It's something worth checking out. Um, I'll add links for you to find these places at some point. Then I was thinking about the Mises Institute and microeconomics and oeconomics, which is I got that right here, household management. So that would be like how to run your own house, how to maintain it, how to pay the bills, what's important, um, how to save money, how to invest money. Um, there's a lot of things here. So just household management. Being this is kind of the self mastery stuff here. So that's really part of it. But maybe this is from kind of a cost accounting or finance viewpoint. Um, core competencies. Um, we'll be teaching anti-fragility, the innovator's way, which is really cool stuff. Stats are that's a really important subject because it allows you to figure out that stats are almost always used to lie these days. Not saying that they're not useful, but if you if you know how to trick somebody with graphs and pie charts and things like that, you get them focused on one thing and not able to see some other things that are important, then you can pull you can pull one over on someone. But if you also understand these kind of things, then you can prevent someone from using graphs and charts and things like that from trying to trick you. So that's going to be a core competency for your child and for your client. I mean, or for your apprentice. So you can count on um, smart people working for you, and you expect them as a small business owner, they're going to move on. That's just part of it. But we're going to be there for you in order to supply you with a new novice or a new apprentice who moves up in your organization or moves on to another. um, we're going to have math and sciences, communications. This is a big one. So one of the things that I've learned while working with some Harvard and Princeton graduates who were about my same age or younger, um, they weren't technically any better than myself. And in fact, I think that I was technically better than they were or more experienced. But one of the things that they had that I did not have was uh, a set of skills that I practiced in communications. So communications is probably one of the biggest differences between myself and them at that time was they were better listeners. So I had all these ideas in my head and ways I knew that I could help the client, but my Harvard and Princeton competitors, um, they were better communicators. They were better listeners. They could empathize with with our client better and faster, and then they could propose solutions in the language that client uh, would more easily take use of. So and communications, it's just not for your business. I mean, it's for relationships, it's for everything. So this is going to be one of our biggest ones. I'm going to put Toastmasters on here because I'll tell you what, that is a really incredible organization. They teach leadership there as well. We're going to have electives for the apprentices. So that could be languages, ethics, human race theory. So we're colorblind, so we're gonna talk about the human race and how we can work together without giving two craps about what your color or sexual preference or whatever is. I mean, it's we're humans. Um, Sciences, redundant art. That art's a big thing. It helps. Everybody's creative. You might not think you are, but with a little bit of practice, you'll find that you're creative in your own ways and will help you as an apprentice, um, at least touch your artistic side a little bit. And, if it doesn't work out, I'm not that great artistically, but um, it was fun trying, one of another thing that I want to talk about, and I think I've got it on another mind map. Oh, wait, hold on a second. We cannot leave this out. So FIA and F3. So females in action, and F3, which is fitness, faith, and fellowship. So it's the physical education arm of the guild. So part of having a healthy mind and a healthy soul is having a healthy body. So they all go together. Um, One of the cool things that I like about F3 and FIA is that it's a good group of people. It's almost like CrossFit, but without people, trying to body shame you or anything like that. It's people really helping you um, improve your physical fitness, and it gives you an opportunity to exercise with a lot of people who can motivate you. One of the things that I found was, there was one morning where we were working out, and I really wanted to quit, and one of my F3 brothers, they wouldn't let me. Um, they kept me pushed. They pushed me, and I told them that, and their response was, "Heck, I you gave me inspiration. You kept going, so I kept going. I wanted to quit too, but when you got two people, and it's not really a competition so much as, hey, let's get across the finish line relatively together. So that's part of that. Um, Fellowship comes next, so you inevitably build friendships, and there's a lot of really cool people. I mean, you can't help but be a pretty good person if you're in this program. It just brings it out of you. It brings the good out of you. Um, so and when you work out with people, I don't know, you share things with them and you become better friends. And then community service. So that's the faith end of it. If you go to f3nation.com, you can find out a lot more about FIA and F3. I'm not sure what the website is for females in actions, but I'll figure that out and post it. So there's a community service and physical education part of an apprenticeship because we want everyone to be well rounded. Um, and that's what I would build if I had $1 million. So one of the things that I need to do is I need to figure out how I can get my hands on $1 million or close to it. So here's my plan for that. So this is the roadmap a little more in depth. And I know that this video is going on a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I can split it up, or you can watch part of it. But this is kind of a separate. Well, this is an additional set of I don't know. Well, this is pretty much the project plan. So that's a good way to put it. So for the Apprenticeship Guild, the mission of the Guild is to plant, serve, and grow apprenticeship guilds for individual and community self mastery and determination. So I kind of borrowed that from F3. Theirs is to plant, serve, and grow small men's workout groups for the advancement, I think, of male community leadership. So it's a really good program, and there's a female version of it too. And I imagine if someone doesn't feel comfortable in either one of those, eventually we could create a I don't know. I don't want to get into the LGBT and trans movement and all that stuff. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, again, um, we are humans, and so it's not just that we're colorblind, but we look at each other as humans. So, one of the things that um, if you just this is me. I was born into this body. It's grown up from a baby. Um, I couldn't help but look like this. I mean, I could change my appearance a little bit, but this is me. I can't change that. I mean, if you look real deep in my pupil, there's a soul back behind this body and these eyes, and this is my universe interaction, machine. Like, this is how I interact with the universe. I know that sounds probably a little far out there, but I was put into this body. I didn't have a choice, and neither did you. So I'm not going to judge you for your unit that you have in order to communicate with me and manipulate the universe. And I ask you to give me that same courtesy. So um, that's that. Um, so let's get back to the discovery. So this right here, we need funding. We need to form a steering committee. That's that C-level organization for the Apprenticeship Guild. Um, this stuff actually works. So one of the things that if we move into a blueprint phase, so we know what our mission is, and we know what our current resources are. We go into blueprint phase, and we don't do the help desk yet. But we start doing a gap analysis, a project plan. We come up with a naming convention for being able to share information reliably, so that it's definitions really. And then we determine what some key performance indicators. So what do we need to track in order to see if we're on mission. And then we design a help desk, and that's to record issues and solutions so that we can go back and look at them, and we can share these issues and solutions. And that's what we call a knowledge base. So that'll be available to everybody. Then we go into our development phase, and that is creating what we need to create in order to launch this thing. So development takes into consideration unit tests. So whenever you build a process or a little piece of the puzzle, we put that piece of the project under a microscope, and we test it. We try to use it in a very limited way. And if it passed test, then we can move that up to our testing phase. We also talk about authorizations in development. You can talk about it in blueprint, um, but it's really in both places. So authorizations are, what can and can't uh, guild members do. Um, so you're mostly authorized to do whatever, but in certain domains, we have to follow certain rules in order to make sure people aren't stepping on each other's toes. Um, we'll get more into that, and that's part of governance, risk, and compliance. Um, then we move into our testing phase, and this isn't in any particular order, but um, where we really start to develop our change management strategy here in testing. So we determine what is a successful test, and it's worth mentioning. So in our testing phase, we take a lot of unit tests and we combine them into a scenario test. So that's a series of related processes or happenings, behaviors that we intend to use for a certain end. When we develop our metrics, and we go back and look at our key performance indicators and see if those are met. From our scenario tests, let's talk about disaster recovery real quick. So we start talking about disaster recovery in this testing phase. I mean, we start talking about it in the blueprint as well, but this is where we really start developing it. And that is, okay, if something catastrophic happens as we're trying to get launched, what do we do in order to get back to here and get back on track? So, and we share that with everyone, and what people's roles are in recovering from a disaster. We take our scenario testing processes, these series of related processes, and we create scripts. So this is step by step testing. So step 1 is good, step 2 is good, step 3 is good, and final product is good. We turn these test scripts into our training. So this is how we, I'm trying to think of how this relates to the Apprenticeship Guild, but so we train people on our processes. Okay, so like, how do you onboard with a small business? How does a small business complete their readiness assessment? It's this is really, I've mostly used it for application development, but what I'm trying to do here is view starting a company or a startup as uh, an SAP implementation. Um, as we talk more about it, I think you'll understand it more. In training, we have something called user acceptance training. So that's really where people really try, the user tries to break the system. Like they try to, they mash all the buttons. They do anything and everything that they can think of using this system. And we look for breakdowns. And whenever we find one, we send it back to development and we fix the problem and we move it back up through. Again, a lot of these analogies aren't working out exactly with doing a startup with the Apprenticeship Guild, but I think that it'll come into play later, and it'll make there'll be more of a we'll see how they're related. So then we go in with a launch. So when we're starting an Apprenticeship Guild, a location, and that has clients and apprenticeships, we have a dry run. So, our steering committee gets together with the other people that we're working with in order to launch this, and we go through our kind of our launch sequence. So, we kick off this. We have a kickoff meeting, so that we get uh, all the stakeholders together, and we say, hey, listen, we're launching this on Monday, and here's what we expect, and here's who the players are, and who do you go to if you encounter a problem. What are the procedures in that? And then we typically have drinks and some dinner. That's in the past. Um, and then that Monday morning when we're actually doing the launch, we call that the cutover. So that is all hands on deck. We're getting an apprentice into a small business, and we're going to help them get up and going. And everybody needs to be alert. And again, here's the communication plan. Here's the help desk. Here's who to call for certain types of problems. And if you experience something, you know, just reach out and we'll get it fixed, because we want this to be a successful launch. And then the go live is actually the result of that cutover. So you're in a live system, and we're we're moving into this production. But before we get to what we call steady state, this mission control monitor phase, that's essentially the first 2 to 3 months of the guild in operation. So again, it's not quite as you know 24/7 monitoring, and on people being on call. This is, hey, we're up and going, but we're going to uh, we're going to monitor things pretty closely during normal business hours, really. Um, and then after you're going for a few months and everything's working out pretty good, we go into a steady state mode. And that's is the processes work, and we can bring on new apprentices or move apprentices around, and the client's happy, the apprentice happy, the guild is happy, everybody's happy. Um, then we go into what's called an audit. So after about a year, we go in and we do an internal audit. We make sure that the system is doing what it's supposed to. So is it doing what it's supposed to for the apprentice, for the client, and for the guild? So the guild is, are we planting, serving, and growing apprenticeship guilds? Um, and we see if it's doing things that it's not supposed to. So I don't know if I have a good example of that. I was thinking of one earlier, but I didn't jot it down. But are we causing things that we didn't intend to, especially if they're not so great things? Or it turns out that we're doing something we didn't intend to, but it turns out to be something favorable. So, but can we blend that into our original uh, plans, and or blend things that are detrimental? Can we blend them out? So that's really where this optimization phase comes in, and that's pretty much starting everything over again. So it's taking what we've learned here and back, and we say, okay, so for this next year, what can we do better, and how can we do it better? Um, Real quick, I want to talk about Switzerland, and then I think I'll finish up. Switzerland was I had the opportunity to stay over there for a while back in 1993, and they have this apprenticeship system that I'm talking about. Probably not the exact same thing, but it's the telos. It's general. It's je ne sais quoi is the same of what I'm describing. So it's a system of people and businesses that essentially creates highly motivated employees, especially for temp uh, positions that don't really that people grow out of. Um, and then it's a way for motivated apprentices to become masters at certain things, and most especially masters of their own selves, the ability to raise a family and uh, provide for the community as well. And it's mostly centered in the small and medium sized business sector. The culture, everybody that I met, and I'm sure that there are some gazillionaires that I didn't meet over there that they didn't care about becoming a master of anything because they had enough money to to last, them and their families for 1,000 generations. But pretty much the general culture was people were looking to get, um, people were looking to become masters of something. And this apprenticeship system allowed them to try out different areas. And sometimes you didn't get the apprenticeship that you wanted, but if you got into an apprenticeship and you did a good job there and you expressed your interest and whatnot, the guild actually helps you find other positions. Or in the same thing with employers, the guild helps find the employers apprentices who are interested in their line of work. So the guild is really like I said, it's a temp agency, but a long-term temp agency that is blended with a self-improvement or master of oneself program. So that's really it in a nutshell. I got myself some notes here to finish up with. And let's see here. I just want to make sure I get to everything. Okay, here it is. So an apprenticeship guild our apprenticeship guild is a place for novices to turn into masters of themselves and their surroundings. Um, Again, if I had $1 million, uh, I could find the talent and dedicate most of my time working towards achieving the mission of the apprenticeship guild, which actually that's the plant, serve and grow apprenticeship guilds for individual and community self mastery. So basically, we'll get into Switzerland a little bit more, but they have a system where basically the county takes care of everything. So, you know, if you want to be a socialist county, you can be one as long as you can afford it, but you can't tax your neighbor county in order to take care of your stuff. Um, it's these communities are really self-sufficient. Um, and I just want to talk about feedback. So if you'd comment on this video and what your thoughts are, I'd love that. If you liked it, like the video. If you want to know more about this kind of stuff, subscribe to my channel. Um, Let me know if you're willing to help. I mean, like, is this something that you would be interested in? Can I help you get one going in your community? Um, something that I would love to know is, would you consider something like this for yourself or for your child? One of the things I want to add on here is that over in Switzerland, like 70% of their children go through an apprenticeship program. And I would say 99.9 something percent of those people have the capabilities of being self-sufficient as they get older. And one of the cool things is that when you have a small business that pretty much only has experts as as uh, an employment sector, well, the owner of the company still makes a really good living, but they have to pay the employee, the expert. Um, I don't want to call it a living wage, but a real wage, something that allows them to finance their own life. So essentially, these experts, I don't know, we're moving to a gig economy. So I don't know. I kind of see a world moving towards lots and lots of self-employed people who companies, hire as a 1099. Um, I might be wrong about that, but here's the thing: if you have a lot of people who are masters of themselves, they're journeymen, journeywomen. Um, that's just kind of how the system works out. So, again, the the business owner makes a real good living, and the experts make a real good living. Definitely enough they can become business owners themselves if they can figure out how to do that. But a lot of people aren't motivated like that. So the system kind of keeps itself in balance with that regards. Um, is this something that you think your child would benefit from? And again, I won't. This is for everybody who. It's for everybody, no matter what skin color you are. If you're a member of our guild, you're going to get the best of the best, and you're going to have a community supporting you and helping helping take care of all these things. So if you're black, white, yellow, green, whatever, you're going to learn who you are and why other people behave the way they do. You're going to learn about systems in general. Everything's a system, politics included, um, general health, uh, household management, how to manage your own home, how to manage your own family. Um, a lot of core competencies. So we're going to be well rounded, or like a Renaissance person. You're going to have breadth and depth in certain areas. Um, you're going to have an opportunity to get fit and stay fit. So, and listen, I'm telling you, there's been people that I know who 2 years ago they were in pretty bad condition as far as their physical body was concerned, and now they're pretty incredible specimens of the human race. And again, that's black, yellow, whatever. I mean, people, humans, good specimens of humans. Um, even though you know we're in different skins, if you will. Um, community service and a lot of friendships here. So if you're interested in all this, if you're interested in something like this, would you donate? So that's something else that you can give me feedback on. Would this be something that you would donate for, and how much would you do, and how much would you be willing to donate as a small business, or even better, would you get in touch with me and say, hey, I love this idea, or no, I think it's stupid, or whatever, just so that I can modify the offering in such a manner that it would be helpful for you. So I'm gonna finish up here. I think that's a great place to finish. But I hope you're having a great day, and remember that the end is far. Take care.